Hey, you guys, welcome to this Essential Oils 101 webinar. I am really excited to share this information with you guys today. And this is a class topic that's actually very close to my heart because in the last couple of years, I've taught this class in person to hundreds of people, and it's always so good to put this information out there in people's hands where they can use it and really change lives. So this is a topic that you've probably been drawn to because it's actually causing quite a movement worldwide, and I am so excited to share why. So let's get this show on the road. So first of all, before we get started, I'm Danette McComber, and I have a wellness community called That's Life, and on there I share about life, health, and essential oils. And I am an essential oils educator with a global wellness team, and we have thousands of members all over the world helping to educate people about this movement. Now, I work with the biggest essential oil company in the world, Doterra, as an educator, a leader, and a business mentor. And I lead an awesome team of people who are making shifts in their life and have taken these exciting tools out into their communities, and they're really becoming a force for good. So you can find me at a few of these various social media outlets that I have listed here. So let's dive in. In this webinar, I'm going to share with you guys why I care so much about taking a natural approach in my life and with my family. And I'm also going to give you some key reasons why you might also want to care about this in your own life. I'm going to share, obviously, why essential oils are the key tool for transforming and creating a more natural lifestyle for you and your family. And then we're going to go over some simple steps for living a more natural life. There are actually some really easy things that you can do and that are going to have a very high impact on your life. So I believe that there's a time and a place for both modern medicine and nature's medicine. I really am grateful for both. And a little background about me, my background is actually in nursing. That's where my training lies. And my husband is actually a leading pediatric gastroenterologist at Phoenix Children's Hospital. And you might agree with me that we're living in a time where we have greatly abused the system, our medical system, to the point where we have these very obvious and major tipping points happening in our body, and especially in our kids. And I'm going to dig into a couple of those areas today with you. But I believe it's worth exploring nature's solutions before we take a more synthetic approach. And the beautiful thing that you're going to learn in this webinar is that there are very effective, beautiful, natural gifts all around us in nature. We just need to learn how to use them properly and safely. I also believe our body was designed to heal itself. And when you give it the right tools, that's exactly what happens. It's a beautiful process. Much of what we're living with today in our bodies, in our homes, is really kind of clogging up that system. And our body is brilliant. It does so much without us even playing a role in that. So if you've ever been pregnant, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You will continue to grow and your baby will grow without you really having to do a whole lot, except satisfying their basic human needs through food and water. So it's a beautiful thing when we can support our body in a natural way so it can do what it does best. Now, I also believe our behavior is an expression of our beliefs. So when we know better, we do better. And I'm glad you're here because that's the goal, to empower you to think about taking care of yourself in a way that maybe you never have before. I also believe that most people have no idea how their body is designed to feel, how great they are meant to feel. And it would be a real tragedy to go your whole life thinking that your body you're living in is normal, that it's normal to not feel great. Many of you might be sitting there listening to me speak, and right now you can feel a lack of energy or perhaps several pain points in your body. And the goal is not to live the rest of your life feeling that way, right? We want to get back to where we feel vibrant and confident and strong and most of all empowered to make better decisions for ourselves and for our families. So this is my journey. It began about 10 years ago with the little guy that you see playing the piano on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And that is my youngest little guy, Kyle. And this kid is the most vibrant, happy, smart, loving kid. but he has struggled so much with paying attention in school. He was easily distracted, and he would distract everybody else around him. And then he'd cry huge crocodile tears when he'd get in trouble for not paying attention, because he wanted so badly to do exactly that. And then after years with working with him, we finally realized that he needed a little bit of extra help. His pediatrician diagnosed him with ADHD, something my husband and I had refused to recognize for a really long time, that he needed a little bit of help. And once we got him some help with medication, things improved significantly. He was himself, but he had more control of what he wanted to do. But it was still a huge roller coaster ride. His medication didn't work all the time. Sometimes it didn't work at all. And that's when I decided to try out those kooky oils that I had turned my nose up at for so long. And after researching the heck out of it, because that's how I roll, that's what I do, I realized that essential oils had a background backed by thousands of medical studies, something I did not realize before. And these were the same studies that my husband and every other doctor out there in the medical world look at for all of their information. And I realized there were over 10,000 studies on essential oils and over 1,000 on peppermint alone. So that blew my mind, and I wanted to know more. So I also learned about the chemistry behind the oils, and it was really awesome. So I talked to my husband about it, and I kind of decided, he told me that they were a safe option, and he had worked with many patients who were using them. And so we ordered my first small kit, and that's how my journey began. So, it's a huge concern to me as a mom that we're living in a world today where our babies are actually born into little toxic bodies. And that's because of what we're bringing into our homes. And I really was starting to feel so helpless when even the medication that Kyle was taking was not helping as much as we had hoped. We tried removing things from our home that we thought were contributing to it, like processed food and sugar. And as I studied more, I learned one of the most toxic things that we have in our homes today is air freshener. Any kind of synthetic fragrance, actually. And did you realize that even products labeled as natural, expensive products from the health food store even, that they can contain fragrance? And this led me into really reading labels and learning how to find or make easily the products that we needed in our home. And we could keep the synthetics out this way. We just needed that knowledge in order to make the right decision. We needed a better alternative. And now we rarely buy any of the stuff we used to. We make practically everything easily using simple ingredients and pure essential oils. So one thing I've discovered on this journey as we've been kind of the guinea pigs of many, many, many chemicals that have been released into our air, many of which were released since World War II. And if you'd like to learn more about this, you can actually watch the documentary, The Human Experiment. I encourage you to look that up. A lot of these chemicals have made their way into our homes, and it is actually known that our homes are 5 times more toxic than the outdoor air because of what we're bringing into our home. And this, unfortunately, is what our babies are growing up with. Well, actually, let me go back in that picture a second. So I talked about my son, Kyle. So the rest of these wackos in this picture, the rest of my family that I love so much. So I actually have 3 other kids. Like I said, Kyle's my youngest. And I have my daughter, Morgan, my oldest, Brian, and Colton, my other son in there. So they like to have a lot of fun, as you can tell in this picture. And then underneath that center picture, those are actually, I'm missing my brother there, but that's actually my 4 sisters and my mom. And I love my family. It is why I jumped into learning more about this subject and making these big changes in our home. All right, so I believe that this is a major awakening time for us, and especially for women. I believe women play a huge role in what is shifting right now. And I love this Chinese proverb that you see on my screen. When sleeping women wake, mountains will move. And I believe that so much. I am so grateful for the women in my life who've led me and the women who've inspired me in this journey and the women I get to talk to every day and helping them start their own change in their homes and in their bodies. It's an incredible shift that's taking place. So before we dive in, I want you to just hit the pause button on this webinar and do a really quick check-in with your body. I want you to think about your body as a whole. I'm talking physical and spiritual and emotional health. And please don't judge yourself. This is not about feeling badly about how you're taking care of yourself. It's just going to be an honest inventory of where you're at, okay? And again, none of these 3 areas will ever be a 10 out of 10. Perfection here is not the goal. It's all about progression and making daily movements every single day. So I want you to consider this, that what the information I present to you today, which of these areas you could actually start moving the needle a little bit more in, to be feeling more whole and to have more of a full cup. You know, you can't really help others when your cup isn't full. You don't have anything to give. So we're going to work on that today. So go ahead and take a few minutes, do a quick inventory for yourself, and think about these areas in your life that you'd really like to focus on over the next few months. All right. You know, our greatest concern right now, and your doctor actually shares this concern, is how can we put our healthcare back into our own hands? How can we feel like we are empowered with the right information and the right tools? So before we dive in further, please know that although I have a medical background, I am not a doctor, okay? I have that background in nursing, and my husband is a doctor, and we greatly value medicine and research and learning, but please consult your doctor and make sure you ask questions. And more than anything, I'm a mom. I use all of these approaches I'm going to share with you today in our own home. I'm a huge believer in experience-based learning. And one thing you can know about me is that I heavily research something. I research the heck out of something before I start it. And I also believe in being a student of my own body. And I have learned how things work with me before I go out and I share that. So while I value the knowledge and the services of all the communities and different approaches that are out there, what I'm going to share with you today is something I truly believe in and I use in our own home. So why do we need to care about this? Let's think about the tipping point. Maybe you've had your own experiences with your body that have led you here today. So, you know, health today is really defined, the way they define it in the medical world is the absence of disease. So we don't really talk often to our doctors about how to really thrive and how to live optimally. We're usually just trying to get past the current hurdle, to treat whatever's happening right now, cut out whatever's ailing us. The problem with this is that we're never getting to the root cause. We're a culture of Band-Aids, right? We're popping pills, we're cutting the body, we're never really getting to the root issue of the problem. So when it comes to something even like prescription medication, this is of great concern to us right now. Because we don't always realize that the pharmaceutical industry is a business, okay? So they have a goal of trying to make drugs accessible to all people and to make them viewed as something that is not toxic to the body. If you live in the USA, then you might not be aware that the United States is one of the only countries in the whole world where pharmaceutical companies are allowed to directly market their drugs to you. So you'll see commercials on TV that talk about drugs just like they do chewing gum. And this is a great problem for us today because we've taken something that at one point was in nature and we've isolated it. We've created a prototype of it. It's been patented and now we sell it. And this is creating chaos in our bodies. And many of you probably had experience or have experienced side effects before. And you know, the body's not meant to handle drugs in the amount that we're taking them today. So it creates great struggle for the body to heal. And it always is the body that does the healing. So when we look at prescription drugs, we do have a huge problem here. And you can see a graph on your screen right now that shows the US in contrast to the rest of the world when it comes to drug sales. Many of you in recent news may have caught this particular Instagram post that Kim Kardashian did, where she was actually pitched by a drug company. She was asked to market their drug for her morning sickness, and it actually had 464,000 likes before the FDA demanded that she delete this post. So we can see this kind of ignorance at play when it comes to taking very toxic things for the body right now. Every 3 minutes, a woman goes to the emergency department for prescription painkiller abuse or misuse. And we see a really big problem actually when it comes to overdosing. Many people think about drug overdosing and they think about heavy drugs like heroin and crack and meth. But actually, prescription medication trumps all of those combined. So I'm going to go back to the previous slide for just a minute. And there are over 100,000 visits you guys, to the emergency room every year due to complications from drugs. So, many people start looking for a more natural approach because they start to feel that breakdown in their body. There was a report on Dr. Mercola's website that talked about how 60% of acute liver failure happens because of just daily gradual use of Tylenol, something very common in all of our homes, right? So my husband, who's a pediatric gastroenterologist, as I mentioned, actually talks about this all of the time. He sees what continual ibuprofen, Tylenol use, what it does to kids' livers and to their stomachs. And he himself has to be pretty much on death's door to consider using that stuff. There may be a time and a place for it, but it's better to use something that has no side effects if possible when you have that option, okay? All right. So there's a book. If any of you are interested in learning more about this topic, it's called Selling Sickness. And I want to highlight just one of the quotes on the first few pages of that book. It's by Henry Gadsden, and he's the head of Merck, which is one of the largest drug companies in the world. And he actually told Fortune magazine years ago that he wanted Merck to be viewed like a chewing gum producer, like Wrigley's. It was his dream to make drugs for healthy people. So the Merck could sell to everyone. And if you look at the world we live in today, I'd say that that goal has pretty much been accomplished. We have every single disease on the rise, and we're popping pills. We're a pill nation. All right? We've been running in the wrong direction, and we see that. So just kind of interesting when you look at the agendas that are at play. And I would certainly encourage you to do some more research in this area if this does affect you or your family. So not too long ago, this is the kind of advertising we saw, right? Or more our parents probably saw. So more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. For a better start in life, start drinking Coca-Cola earlier. If you think about this, sometimes it's good to remind yourself that if you're being advised to take a certain course of action in your healthcare and it doesn't sit right in your gut, there's probably a reason for it. You need to ask those questions. You need to be an advocate for yourself and certainly for your kids if you're a mom. Our kids, they face one of the greatest challenges today, being that they are born toxic. So let me explain what I mean by that. So the EWG, or the Environmental Working Group, they did some research and they found that the average newborn contained 287 toxins in their body at birth. And of these 287 chemicals, 180 are linked directly to causing cancer, 217 are toxic to the brain or the central nervous system, and 208 were known to cause birth defects. So this is of great concern, right? Think about the little bodies that we're bringing into the world, and they're being exposed right away in utero, in mom, to these chemicals. And really, I come back to that statement, when we know better, we do better. We haven't always understood the link between what we're breathing in and what we're putting on our skin and what we're eating and what it's doing to our bodies. And the more you start to understand, the scarier it can feel, right? But my goal today is not to promote fear. I really want to provide hope so you understand that there is a better way, okay? But it's very concerning, right? So if you're listening to this today and you're not a mom yet, maybe you're not pregnant yet, now is the time to take action. So we want to start understanding what we're using in our everyday life. And this could be a class all on its own, but if you want to take a quick screenshot or write these down, these are the top 12 toxins that we have in our personal care products today. And here's the thing, the self-care industry, similar to the essential oil industry, is not governed. So nobody is telling these companies what they can or they can't put into those bottles. The legislation on this has not been updated actually for more than 100 or almost 100 years. So we really have to do our diligence to make sure that what we're bringing into our home is clean, and certainly be more aware of what we're putting in our bodies. So I just want to review this really, really quick. And if you think about what a thriving body actually thrives on, look at the base of this pyramid. Eating and exercise are two of the most important things that we can do, right? So we've been told this for years. This is no surprise to any of us. We just don't often do these things, right? And I know life is stressful today, more than ever before, and it's hard to find time sometimes to dedicate to these two areas. But if you can do your best within those two, and for some people that may mean just a couple of nights a week, making more food at home, or choosing to eat 80% of your food as more whole foods, not out of a box with a label, right? So start where you can, but certainly you want to try to eliminate as many packaged foods and processed foods as possible. And then when it comes to exercise, I mean, seriously, this is an area we all know we could probably do a little better in, right? But real important part here is just finding something you know you love to do. Be more active, even if it's getting outside for a little walk every day. That's great. If it's going to maybe go to a yoga class with a friend or go on a hike, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be the latest fad in workouts. Just get your body moving and create that vibrancy in your body. Now, reducing toxic load and managing stress and increasing your rest periods, these are two areas we all struggle with today. Reducing toxic load, I mean, there's a lot that is unfortunately out of our control, but there's a lot that we can control. And this is the thing. I want you to really open up your mind and increase your awareness of what you can control. Because yeah, there are areas that as much as we try, we can't control. But let's do what we can in the areas that we can, okay? So there are two different pathways that you'll find yourself taking throughout your life. So the first would be going down the more modern medical approach, okay? So when we have an issue, taking a synthetically produced drug prescribed by our doctor. And in most cases, those drugs manage symptoms but don't get at the root cause. We also end up compounding the problem with a lot of side effects usually. We use it. In many cases, we become a lifelong consumer of that drug. If you think about our kids and what's happening today, we see a lot of kids being drugged at a very early age for a lack of attention or focus, for example, and now we're turning them into a lifelong consumer of something that's poisoning their body over time. On the contrast, we have nature's path. So nature produces the support, right? It meets the body's need and addresses the root cause without side effects because it's not synthetic. And the body's able to heal itself. And we don't see the same dependency that we see with normal Western medical drugs. And we don't see that same buildup of toxins in the body. The body knows what to do with nature. So you need to really take inventory of what path you've been choosing. And is there an opportunity for you to choose a more natural path in most situations? So today's webinar is all about essential oils, right? Why are we talking about them? And why do I think they're a key tool? So first of all, they've been used for centuries to support the body in healing. This is nothing new. It's so funny to me that things like essential oils are viewed as alternative medicine because they are the original medicine, okay? They're 100% natural. They work with our bodies to promote health without side effects. They're 50 to 75 times more powerful than herbs. So, for those of you that grow, say, peppermint in your garden, if you were to take 1 drop of peppermint essential oil, and I'm talking pure plant oil, that's equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea, okay? So it's much, much stronger than just that peppermint plant that you'd have in your hand because it's very concentrated, right? And essential oils have a huge spectrum of applications, anywhere from uplifting mood, which is a very common entry point for people starting with oils, to removing unnecessary toxins from your life. And I want to highlight the word unnecessary. We do not need to be having all these toxins in our homes. There is a better way. And essential oils are easy to use. They're going to last you a very long time because most applications you're using just 1 drop, and many times you'll be diluting it. And I'll talk about safety in a moment. Essential oils are affordable, as I mentioned. Many bottles that you'll bring into your home you'll have for at least 5 years. I mean, there are some bottles like lemon or orange essential oil. I'll probably go through a bottle every 2 or 3 months. But hey, oregano, that stuff is so strong. I will probably have that bottle for the rest of my life. So with an honest brand, like the brand I'm showing you today, you will have 100% pure plant magic. And the reason that happens is because when you source a plant indigenously, meaning where that plant grows most abundantly in the world, where it's thriving in its natural habitat, you're therefore going to have the most therapeutic qualities, okay? So we're gonna dive into that in just a second. So essential oils, they are natural aromatic compounds. They come to us from the seeds, the leaves, the peel, the bark, the stem, the flower. You know, different parts of the plant give us different end products. And up at the top of the screen there, you can see an example of a peppermint leaf, right? And to the right of that, you see how the essential oils contained on a peppermint leaf, So that little sac you see there that looks like it's being protected by these little thorns that aren't really visible to the eye, that's been magnified about 300 times. So all plants have this system of support, and it lends this same kind of support to our bodies. So how do they work? So not to get too deep into the science of it here, but to explain this really simply, there's basically about 3 types of oils. We have phenols, we have sesquiterpenes, and we have monoterpenes. So phenols are like the cleansing type of oils. They cleanse the receptor sites of our cells, and they really help the body do more of its magic, okay? So examples of phenols would be wintergreen, clove, basil, fennel, melaleuca, peppermint, cinnamon, oregano. Some of these are more hot oils that you'll notice. So things like clove and cinnamon and oregano, those would be very warm on your skin. We call that caustic, okay? But they're cleansing. So a lot of people will integrate these into their wellness plans to help with deeper cleansing on that cellular level. Then we have sesquiterpenes. These would be your cedarwood, patchouli, sandalwood, vetiver, ylang-ylang, lemon, okay? So these are like the police, all right? The police of the oils. And basically, once that first category, the phenols, once they go in and they help cleanse those receptor sites of your cells, the sesquiterpenes, they enter the cells and they help to erase garbled or miswritten information on your DNA. And again, your whole body works on chemistry. There's a lot of things going on that you never are even thinking about in your body. So then we have the third group, and those are the monoterpenes. So these are many times your citrus oils, your grapefruit, orange, lemon. This has frankincense, which is the king of all oils, marjoram, juniper berry. So these examples of oils, they help to reset the DNA back to factory settings, if you want to think about it that way. They're like the ultimate doctor in your body. So with hundreds of trillions of cells in our body communicating all day long using electrical pulses and through the lignins, our cells communicate through using hormones as well. If we are living in a toxic body, the receptor sites of our cells are blocked. So the hormones and the electrical pulses, they can't communicate throughout the body. So on that level, you can imagine that if you have a drop of essential oil passing through your body, cleansing at the deepest level of your body, that is what starts over time to create the magic, as I keep alluding to, because I really feel like it is magic. It's chemicals, it's chemistry, it's real, but it feels very magical to me. It's a beautiful approach to your wellness. So I want to review with you the 3 ways that we actually use oils and how to safely use them. And then I'm going to go through the top 10 with you. So we'll be on for probably another 20 minutes or so. So how to use oils. The first and the most popular way would be aromatic use, okay? And here on the screen, you can see examples of diffusers. And I'll show you that in just a second again. But aromatic use is very, very powerful. And we aromatically use oils to cleanse the air, to shift the mood in the home, and to open the airways and support the respiratory system. So I want to show you here, there's a couple of diffusers that I love that are made by Doterra, which is my preferred oil brand. And if you want to know my favorite blends to diffuse, it's Equal Drops Clary Sage, Wild Orange, Lavender, and Sandalwood. It is so beautiful. I love it. It smells just like a spa. And diffusers, basically, they work with water. So you usually just add 3 or 4 drops of oil to a diffuser that you've filled with water to that fill line, and that's it. You just press it on, it will run for the time you've chosen or until it runs out of water. And once a week, I like to take my diffusers and clean them very simply with rubbing alcohol or a little vinegar and water, and they are good to go. I love, love, love diffusing. Now here's why. When we breathe in a pure plant oil that has no synthetics or fragrance or fillers or any of that junk in it, it has a very powerful effect on the limbic system of our brain, okay? So the limbic system controls and regulates memory, emotions, hormones, blood pressure, heart rate. So it's so much more than just a nice scent. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of chemical reactions that take place when you breathe in a pure plant oil. And doTERRA has a lot of great blends specifically designed for different outcomes, okay? So you can see on the screen here that they have different blends that you would want to diffuse if you were looking for, more balance, or if you wanted to feel more grounded or more calm. If you wanted to feel more motivated or invigorated, they have blends like Citrus Bliss or Elevation. They're powerful, you guys. This is a great starting point for many people when it comes to using oils. The second way that we use oils is topical. So this is typically going to be used when you have a localized area that you're looking to support, okay? So you may apply it to certain areas of your skin to promote skin healing, let's say. So some people, they love to apply oils to the bottoms of their feet. In fact, I recommend that if you have little kids, because let's say you're using something like peppermint to bring the body temperature down, because peppermint has a very cooling effect. So you might apply that to your kids, but peppermint oil could really affect their eyes if they rubbed where you put that peppermint and then they touched near their eyes. So applying to their feet instead of like the back of their neck gives them the effect you're looking for without getting it near their eyes. And you can just throw a pair of socks on them. You're good to go. And actually, if you wanted to do a little test, you'd actually start to taste the peppermint yourself if, within minutes. Try putting it on your feet. You're going to taste it within minutes. So the peppermint gets in the bloodstream very quickly and it goes throughout the whole body and it helps to support very quickly. So here's a key thing with topical. You're going to see here my dilution recommendation in the heart there for kids. I recommend that you only take 1 drop of essential oil and dilute that down into approximately a teaspoon of carrier oil. And if you're working with much younger kids, then you're going to increase that even more to about a tablespoon, okay? And here's the thing with dilution. I highly recommend it, especially if you've never used essential oils before. You want to start off slowly and very diluted. And like I said, in many situations, we're only ever using 1 drop of oil, diluting it in a carrier oil, such as fractionated coconut oil or olive oil. It does not change the effectiveness of the oil when we talk about diluting. It just helps to increase the surface area, okay? It also helps to prevent any topical reaction to that oil, okay? Because remember, pure plant oil like doTERRA is going to be very, very strong. So you want to start off small. You can always add a little more. But I love to wear essential oils, for example, in place of perfume. So we try to be completely fragrance-free in our home, yet there are beautiful blends that doTERRA has that I wear as perfume. And some of those favorites are Elevation, In Tune, which is a focus blend with patchouli in it. It's really gorgeous. I love the blends Peace and Forgive. I'll apply those directly to my pulse points. And I personally don't need to dilute. I don't have reactions. I never have to oils. But when I started very small. I diluted and I kind of worked my way up to that. So you may find that you have a similar skin type to me, but learn that gradually, okay? Now, the third, and this is very specific to doTERRA. Let me go back a slide here. Go back. There it is. Okay, so the third, and this is specific to doTERRA, the third use would be internal. So many people will take oils internally on a daily basis to support their body in a deeper way, whether that's soothing a sore throat or going to work on a deeper level in some of the organs. You can see on the screen there that doTERRA makes veggie capsules, and you can actually put a couple of drops of the essential oil you're looking to use to support your body into a little capsule. You can also add it to your drinking water. Now, they will not emulsify. They'll kind of float on top of the water. So I personally love to add citrus oils to my drinking water. I love, love, love grapefruit essential oil. I also love just your basic lemon essential oil. I'll add that to my water in a stainless steel bottle. And then I just give it a really quick shake before I drink. With an oil like, let's say, cinnamon or clove or doTERRA's blend that has both of those in it called On Guard, it's a protective blend. When I'm starting to feel a sore throat come on, I'll take 1 drop in some water and gargle it and swallow it because it feels so good on the throat. But if I did that every day, it'd probably start to bother my throat. So you just want to be mindful of that. Certain oils like peppermint, they feel amazing on an upset stomach, for example. So adding a drop of pure peppermint oil is great in those situations. But again, I probably wouldn't take that every single day. So let's cover a few points about safety here. A few other ones than I've already mentioned. So I already mentioned diluting. You also don't want to apply oils anywhere near a body entry point. So like right in the eyes or right in the ear, for example, you always want to apply it around the area and dilute it, and always wash your hands after. Because again, if you've put some peppermint on and then you go to rub your eye a half an hour later, it's going to kind of burn. So you want to make sure you wash your hands after you use oils. Less is more, absolutely. So It's better to just use oils frequently through the day in small amounts as opposed to say like 5 drops all at once. And then properly store your oils to make them last a long time. So keep the caps sealed very tightly, keep them away from direct heat, and try to store them away in a cupboard. Your oils are highly volatile, which that means they're just going to evaporate quickly. So if you put a drop of peppermint oil in your hand and you just have your hand sitting there, within a couple of minutes, that oil is going to be evaporating, and it might have completely evaporated from your hand. So this is also why we dilute. It actually helps to lengthen the amount of time an oil will stay on your skin. Also remember that there's hot oils, like we mentioned, oregano, thyme, cinnamon, cassia clove. All of those oils will actually feel very uncomfortable on the skin if you don't dilute them. So if you're using oregano, for example, I would apply that actually to the bottoms of my feet, or I would put that into a little capsule internally with a little olive oil. There's also photosensitive oils. So all your citrus oils come from the peel as opposed to being steam distilled, okay? So they're highly photosensitive, which means if you applied wild orange essential oil, let's say, to your skin, and then you went out in the sun, you'd be more apt to get a sunburn. So be very careful with your citrus oils, especially in the summer months. So I want to talk to you about why I chose Doterra. Now, when I first came across Doterra, I'd been hearing about essential oils for years. I'd even had some products with essential oils in them that promised all sorts of things, but I'd never been blown away by the results. I always thought they should be doing more for me than they actually were. So when I first tried Doterra, I wasn't sure what to expect. I really didn't expect them to work. I thought essential oils were just pretty smells. But if you've used any other oils and then you try Doterra oils, right away, your nose is going to tell you the difference. You're going to find that the first time you experience a Doterra essential oil, as soon as you take the cap off, you will get it. Your nose will tell you the difference. But there are a couple of other things that really stood out to me about the company and why I really just fell in love with their oils and the work that they're doing. So the first is, and I mentioned this already, they source around the globe. So you can see a picture of a map here and a sampling of the different oils that Doterra has gone around the world to source. And this makes a huge difference in the effectiveness of an oil. You know, lavender from France is going to have a completely different constituent profile than a lavender grown off the interstate highway in the US. So this is a huge deal. And we know this. For example, for those of you who've traveled to maybe tropical places and had fruit there versus eating fruit here, you know it is not the same experience. So when you have the right soil conditions and you have the right environment, you have a completely different plant. So this is a huge, huge deal. Now the second thing, and many of you would really care about this if you started looking into this more, is the effect of this on the global economy. So it's one thing to go to an area of the world where the environment is great. Some companies are doing that, but they're going there and they're setting up their own farms. I look at that as that's great for the company, but not really great for the greater good, right? I love what Doterra does. They have this model called co-impact sourcing, and I would encourage you to go on to Doterra International's YouTube channel and watch a few of those videos. It will completely light your soul on fire just to see the work that they're doing. It will bring you to tears. So what Doterra does is they go to the countries where these plants, they are thriving, and they work with the farmers. They create a co-op to help them grow the best plants possible, and they use the best distilling possible, and they therefore help that economy start to thrive in a way that it hasn't ever thrived before. So they are doing amazing, amazing work there. And this is huge to me because I do believe that in the next couple of years, every home is going to have essential oils. And if we're not right now concerned about sustainability, we will be. So this to me, I feel so blessed to have these bottles made available to us. But I also know that it's nice to know through my purchases that I'm helping to support people across the globe where this, in many cases, is one of their main exports. So Doterra's oils, once they're brought in, they go through actually 7 levels of testing. Every batch of oil is third-party tested and guaranteed to be pure, completely natural, no artificial ingredients, fragrances, fillers, or synthetics. They will be completely safe. And because of the sourcing model, Doterra's oil quality is beyond what could be produced organically on soil, for example, within the US. They'll always be free of fillers, pesticides, and foreign contaminants. and they are potent because, again, when you have a plant grown and harvested in its natural habitat, now you have the most potent form of essential oil. So just really quick, in the essential oil world, grading is really important because you have synthetics on one end of the scale, and this would be how 95% of essential oils are produced, very synthetically. So they take something that happens in nature and they create a fake product. So this is why you'll see essential oils on store shelves today. You'll even find essential oils at the dollar store. You know, certainly not therapeutic to the body and not safe at all because you have a very concentrated product. Then there's food grade oils, there's therapeutic oils, and then you have Doterra's standard of certified pure therapeutic grade, which will be the purest and most potent essential oil on the market today. So I'm going to dive in with you, and today we're focusing on the top 10 oils for every home. Here's how I know what I know. It's the number one question I get at my classes. Well, how do you know what to use and when? There are so many great resources out there, and I'd love to share with you a couple of my favorite ones. So my favorite book is actually The Essential Life. It is really a lifestyle guide using essential oils. And then the Modern Essentials Guide, right there on the right, that is another great book that's also available as an app. If you like apps on your phone, that's a great one. And then aromaticscience.com is a library of research happening around essential oils. You'll also find great education modules there. And then Doterra University is a great source for all things doTERRA, learning about the different pathways and all the different products, how you could potentially build a natural health business using the oils. All that info is there. And of course, that is something I would mentor you through, which I'll share at the end if that interests you. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to spend about 2 minutes on each of these oils, just sharing my favorite ways to use them. So if you want to grab a pen and paper and make some notes, I would love that. And just so you know, these 10 oils that I'm going to go through with you, all of these 10 oils are available in 2 starter kits that doTERRA has. One's called the Family Essentials Kit, and the other one is the Home Essentials Kit. And starter kits are one of the most common ways that people get started, and I'll share why at the end. Okay, so here's my fave oil. This is the first oil of all of doTERRA's that I tried, peppermint. Okay, so peppermint oil is used to invigorate and to feel more alive. And like I mentioned, just 1 drop is equivalent to the amount of peppermint in 28 cups of peppermint tea. So applied topically, I like to use peppermint to soothe any tension I have in my temples or in my neck or my spine. And it's going to help also to cool the body temperature down. It's a driving oil, so that means it's going to help drive other oils further into the body when it's used with them, when you layer it over the top. And it can be taken internally, like I mentioned, to help support the digestive system, to help with any gas, bloating, indigestion, any stomach upset that's happening occasionally. It's just a very calming and soothing oil. So here's a couple of fun ways to use it. I like to bake with it. I'll put it in brownies and in smoothies. I also like to add it to lip glosses. It's great to add about 2 drops to your lip gloss tubes. And then this is the thing, when you're baking or something with peppermint, you're only gonna need to use like 3 or 4 drops in your whole recipe. So definitely one of the top 10 oils all homes should have. Also, if you have wild orange essential oil, combining that with peppermint in a diffuser or just rubbing your hands together and then just breathing that in, that is a really energizing experience. So I love to use that in my office. It's actually what I have going right now in my little diffuser behind me, or while my kids are trying to wake up in the mornings and get ready in the morning. So really great. The second oil that I'm going to go through is lavender. And lavender is the oil of calming. Many of you have probably heard of lavender as being helpful for supporting your sleep or perhaps reducing anxious feelings. It really helps to promote peace in the home. And it's like the Swiss Army knife of oils. There's so many uses for lavender. Many times you're going to use lavender topically as well with any kind of skin irritations. So it helps the skin to really recover easily and quickly. So if you have eczema or you get any burns or bee stings or bug bites or anything like that, you can use lavender topically for that. But as you can see here, probably the most common way people use lavender is to promote deeper sleep. I love to add a couple drops of lavender to about a cup of Epsom salt, and I'll put that in the bath. I'll also diffuse it in our room and in my kids' rooms before they go to bed. I'll start the diffuser up about 20 minutes before they go to bed, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful form of support for them and for us. And then we have lemon. So lemon is actually a very cheap essential oil. So the wholesale cost through doTERRA is only $10, and that gives you a bottle with about 250 drops in it. And I use lemon oil in our home for all things cleansing, okay? So it's definitely the oil of clearing and cleansing. So when you think of physical surfaces or cleansing the air in a diffuser, it's beautiful. Making your own cleaners, you can make a very simple all-purpose cleaner using about a half a cup of vinegar, a half a cup of water, and about 10 to 20 drops of essential oil, whatever your preference is. Now, I have some lovely everyday life uses for lemon. I will soak our fruit and veggies in a bowl of lemon water every day. I'll let it sit for about 5 to 10 minutes with about 5 to 10 drops of lemon, depending on how many things are in that big bowl. And I'll let it soak, and you'll be shocked at how much comes off your fruits and veggies. I also use lemon. Oh my gosh, with 4 kids, you gotta have lemon. I use it to remove gum out of hair, to remove stains, like black Sharpie marker. If you're a teacher, lemon's gonna take all those stains off your dry erase board. So it's like a natural degreaser. It will polish silver and other metals. You can add it to olive oil to help protect your leather furniture. Oh my gosh, it's such a helpful oil. And oh yeah, I love baking and cooking with it. If you have recipes that call for lemon zest, for example, then it's brilliant to have in your kitchen for just bringing out more flavor in your recipes. Especially if you're on a low sugar diet, lemon's going to help you bring out more of the flavor in your recipes so you don't have to use as much sugar. So nice little tip. Okay, next up is Melaleuca. So some of you may know Melaleuca as tea tree oil. doTERRA's Melaleuca comes from Australia, and this is going to be an oil you use for any kind of skin irritation. So again, it's most commonly going to be used topically and diluted. So this is an oil that is wonderful for eczema. So you can add it to products you're already using, like shampoo, for example, if you're looking to repel bugs from the hair, especially if you have elementary age kids. You can see a little recipe on your screen next to the blue spray bottle. It's perfect for keeping bugs away from hair. Although it's great to put the Melaleuca in your shampoo, sometimes it's easier just to have it in a little spray bottle like this. If you've gotten that notice home from school that those bugs are kind of going around, you can just give their heads a little spritz as you're brushing their hair in the morning before school. You can also spray their little backpacks and their hats, and just a little extra reassurance for you. So the geranium in that recipe, it's going to add a little floral note so the Melaleuca doesn't smell so medicinal. And you could also use lavender there instead of the geranium. You can add Melaleuca to cleanser. I especially love that for acne-prone skin, like mine is actually. You can add it to a spray bottle to use as a cleaner to prevent against environmental threats. And you can use it to boost your immune system to help to cleanse things. You can see up on your screen there some toothbrushes, and you can actually put all your toothbrushes in a glass, bristles down, and put about a cup of water and about 5 drops of Melaleuca. You can use that, or you can also use a protective blend doTERRA has called On Guard. And Melaleuca is really going to be the oil of first aid for you. Just think of it for anything on the skin that you're looking to keep clean or to get clean. Okay, now oregano is a very, very, very strong oil. It's going to be more of your big gun oil, okay? It's powerful and very, very cleansing. So if you have oregano oil at home right now, you will not believe how strong this is. You'll probably have this one bottle for the rest of your life. So the main constituents in it, in oregano oil, are carvacrol and thymol. So that is what gives it its powerful immune enhancing benefits. It's very helpful for something that maybe you've been targeting with something synthetic, or maybe some of the less caustic essential oils like Melaleuca or lavender, and maybe those aren't quite cutting it. You may transition over to oregano, okay? It's recommended that you don't use oregano for longer than 10 days, just to give your body a bit of a break from it. But some other real life examples. I keep oregano in my kitchen because any recipes that call for the herb, I will just use 1 drop of oregano. So great in pasta sauces, pizza, anything like that. Such a good oil to have on hand. Just think of it like this. If what you're using for support right now isn't working, you may want to shift to oregano for a short period of time. The last single essential oil I want to review with you is frankincense. It is known as the king of all oils. It's often said in the essential oil world that if you don't know what oil to use, grab your bottle of frankincense. Very, very effective in terms of supporting cellular health in the body. Topically, it's going to help reduce the appearance of scars, stretch marks, wrinkles, aging skin. So I love, love, love to dilute 1 drop of frankincense at night and a little bit of argan oil on my skin. It is so beautiful. And frankincense is often used to support meditation and prayer. When you smell it, it may remind you of church. Many of you may remember it being referenced in the Bible as one of the gifts brought to the Christ child. It's a very, very, very precious oil. And this is definitely an oil you want to have in your home. And it's in a lot of doTERRA's other products. So for beautifying the skin, doTERRA has literally the world's best all-natural plant-based skincare system. It's called Barrage, and frankincense is one of the oils used in that skin system. It's also used in a roller bottle that you'll see on your screen called Immortelle. And this is an anti-aging blend that I absolutely love. Personally, I like to roll it underneath my eyes, around wrinkly areas, any areas I'm looking to promote skin healing. It's a beautiful, beautiful oil. Frankincense is definitely one of the more expensive essential oils. So it's a nice oil to get in the starter kit, so it's a little bit cheaper that way. And now I want to share with you a couple of really key blends that doTERRA has made to target certain forms of support. So the first and most popular, and again, this comes in those starter kits, is called On Guard. And it is a protective blend. You can see on the right side of your screen that it comes in a lot of different products that doTERRA makes. And these are all natural solutions. They are products that many of us are buying right now at the store that are not very good for our health. So laundry detergents at the store, even the health food store, they have synthetic fragrance in them, which can cause eczema and a host of other problems. So doTERRA's has an On Guard laundry concentrate that you can use, and it is brilliant. The toothpaste, our family loves this, because it provides natural support without the fluoride, without triclosan, all these toxic chemicals that we're finding in store-bought toothpaste. This one's a nice natural form of support. And then they have a cleaning concentrate. I want to mention this too. See that taller bottle on the upper right-hand corner of your screen? That one bottle, which costs about $14 wholesale, will make 12 spray bottles of all-purpose cleaner. You just add a couple tablespoons of that and add it to a spray bottle of water, and you have a beautiful all-purpose cleaner. So I love all the ways doTERRA has solutions for everyday life. But this particular blend that is in all those products, having it on its own is brilliant, because when you have a sore throat, for example, just gargling some of this with some water is going to be so soothing on your throat. It has this nice numbing effect. But I also know that the clove that is in it is highly supportive to my body. It is super, super high in antioxidants, way more than blueberries. You might want to make a mouthwash with it. It would be a very good use for that. This is going to be such a popular blend to have in your home. I recommend that at the start, sorry about that. I recommend that at the start of a new season, when our immune systems are going to be threatened in a greater way, just diffuse this in your home, just put 3 or 4 drops in your diffuser and make sure you're cleaning with it. doTERRA also has a foaming hand wash using On Guard, which is brilliant because almost every hand wash that we buy today has triclosan in it, which is killing all of our good bacteria, whereas this is a nice natural form of support. So again, I just want to emphasize that this is a blend that you can use in so many different ways to have that little bit of exposure every day, throughout your day, to something that's supporting your health as opposed to taking away from it. You can use this to oil pull in the morning, which is so helpful for the health of your mouth. And you can do this by adding a drop of On Guard to about a teaspoon of olive oil in the morning and using this to rinse your mouth. How else do we like to use this? I actually like to create a little roller bottle for my kids for supporting their immune systems. And you can write this little recipe down if you have little kids around preschool to elementary age kids. You can put 10 drops of On Guard in a 10 milliliter roller bottle and then top it off to the top with fractionated coconut oil and then you just roll this on their little feet in the morning and then put their socks on. This is something that we love to do at the start of the school year, or when we're going through the changing seasons and when we're trying to keep them from catching all that gunk going around at school. So this is such a helpful oil to have on hand, especially when you start to feel the signs of your system being compromised. And then we have Breathe. This is doTERRA's respiratory blend. It has peppermint, eucalyptus, melaleuca, ravensara, cardamom. Very supportive to breathing, okay? Clearing the airways, just helping to minimize the effects of some of the sort of seasonal threats that are coming on. So if you feel your breathing is compromised, putting Breathe oil in the diffuser, 3 to 4 drops. I actually love to combine Breathe with lavender at night just to help support stronger, more restful sleep. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll keep it where I work out in my house, just put a little drop under my nose to open up my airways, help me to breathe better, and really, really great for kids as well. If you have a little baby, cardamom on its own might be an oil you'd like to get, especially if you have a baby under the age of 1. Sometimes peppermint can feel a little bit too intense for them, so cardamom, which is in this blend, might be a single oil that you want to have on hand for promoting respiratory health. Okay, Deep Blue, also known as the Soothing Blend. Any athletes or heavy lifters out there, you're going to never want to be without this blend. I adore this for easing tension. You may have used a synthetic version of this in the past, such as Icy Hot, which has a synthetic version of wintergreen and a synthetic version of camphor, which is actually quite toxic in synthetic form to the body. But Deep Blue is a nice natural combination of wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, blue tansy, helichrysum. It just feels so, so good. And if your kids are experiencing growing pains, give them a little massage on the legs with this. It does wonders. I love to use this on my temples for any head tension, and also my neck and shoulders where I tend to get really tight and tense. Who doesn't? So many of us spend hours in front of the computer each day hunching over, and this stuff, it just relaxes everything and releases that tension and discomfort wherever I put it, and within minutes. Unlike synthetic options you would pick up from the drugstore, which take 30 to 45 minutes to kick in and are terrible for your stomach and your liver. So Deep Blue is great for deep tissue work, almost like having a massage without getting one. Even things that are more chronic issues like joint pain of any kind, this feels so good massaged in, nerve pain, anything like that. So Digest Zen is doTERRA's digestive blend, obviously, as the name suggests. So it's a blend of ginger and peppermint, caraway, coriander, tarragon, fennel. It actually smells quite strongly of the fennel, so if you like black licorice, you will absolutely love it. I like to apply 1 to 2 drops topically. I'll do a little massage if I have occasional stomach upset or if my food hasn't quite digested properly, any kind of gastrointestinal stress. So you can even take this internally. In fact, that's my favorite way to do that. Even though I don't particularly like black licorice, I'll just swallow it down with a glass of water. And you can add it, if you do like the black licorice, you can actually add it to some warm water and drink it like a tea. Or you just rub it on topically like we talked about. So I like to actually do a combination of both of those. So it works like magic. It really, really does. The ingredients in this blend, they've been used for thousands of years to calm digestive issues. And doTERRA also makes this in a soft gel form. And they also have a calcium carbonate tablet that contains this blend also, which you could take after you've eaten if you feel like things haven't digested properly. But this is a lifesaver for people with any kind of indigestion, heartburn, or anything gastrointestinal, things like that. Okay, so those were the top oils I wanted to review with you. So one of the last things I wanted to mention were doTERRA supplements, because although essential oils are the core of what they do, their supplements, which they've incorporated some of their essential oils into, are actually their most popular product. So they actually have a money-back guarantee. If you aren't feeling more energy and less pain in your body in 30 days, they will refund your money. One of the things I wanted to say about this is that many of the supplements you're buying today at the health store or at the drugstore, they are not bioavailable. They're either so many synthetics and binders, they're large pills and the body can't digest them, or on the opposite end of that spectrum, you may be investing your money in a lot of vitamins and supplements right now that are mega dosing the body. Some of these companies out there, they have a belief that if a little is good, well then more must be better, right? But that's not the case. And doTERRA's approach with supplementation is to bring the body back to baseline, to balance all of those key areas that we're not getting through our food system. So I always mention this system because if you are really going after a lifestyle of wellness, consistency with it is the heart of prevention. So our goal, all of us, should be to live a long life and a high quality long life. We don't want to get to our 60s or 70s and have a complete degradation of our health. Supplementation is absolutely vital. And I mean, hey, I eat very nutritiously. I eat whole foods throughout the day, but I still know that my levels are not where they should be optimally because of our soil conditions. You know, even if you're somebody who's growing your own food, you may not be getting everything you need. So supplementation is important. This is something you'll want to consider for sure. Okay, so I want to wrap up. Simple next steps. And I have up there a quote that I absolutely love. We all can do amazing things with what we have wherever we may be. That is what it's all about. And like I said at the beginning, when we know better, we do better. So what I want you to take away from this today is you are not to feel guilty, first of all, because chances are what we've been doing in our everyday life, we haven't always known was actually taking away from our health. However, many of us are here today because maybe we're just not feeling as great as we would like to. So to recap what I shared with you, the most important things you can do are, number one, choose organic as much as possible and make at least 80% of your diet whole foods, foods your body's going to recognize, okay? Number two, have access to powerful essential oils at your fingertips in your home. You know, have a pure plant oil in your home because this is one of the easiest forms of natural wellness you can have at your fingertips. Number three, commit to your personal education. So, for example, what you're doing here today, commit to learning. Be an advocate for yourself in your own home because guess what? You're not going to get it going to your doctor every day. That whole system isn't set up to support the body in a holistic way. It's meant to treat. It's meant to cut. We want to get into a lifestyle of prevention and awareness and feeling more empowered. So be a health advocate for yourself and for your kids. And then number four, very important, surround yourself with those that have similar goals to you. Have a community of people who are rocking this lifestyle so that you can feel supported. It is very, very hard if you have family and friends who give you a hard time about trying to be better. You may experience judgment in that area. So it's very important to surround yourself with people who have similar goals to you. Last thing I just want to mention, some of you listening to me today, you may be in the health community. You may be a health coach. You may be a yoga instructor or a chiropractor, or you might just be someone who is not loving their life, loving their job. For me, I felt the need to serve people and to use my gifts in a way that fit me and the way I wanted to live. And if that speaks to you at all, I would love to chat further. We have an amazing team of business builders. You can see a sampling of some of them on the screen there. I would love to mentor you in growing your own essential oil business, and I have key support systems in place on our team. Not only would we have a weekly call for a couple of months, but I also have a library of trainings available to our team about how to start your business. We have one of the most thriving essential oil teams in the world. We attract the most amazing women and men into our business. I believe Simon Sinek's philosophy that people don't buy what you sell, they buy because they believe what you believe. In fact, I believe that's why you are here today. We share a very similar viewpoint on our bodies and the earth and how we are meant to feel. And you probably feel the way I did a couple of years ago, where I knew there had to be a better way. I just wasn't sure how to start. And so that's what I'm really inviting you to do today, is to consider there being a better way and to consider taking a different approach in your home. So let's connect. There's my email on the screen, danette.mccomber@gmail.com. You can take a screenshot of this, or you can also hop onto my website. That's life-danette.com. And I want to just wrap up with this quote by C.S. Lewis. Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when you look back, everything is different? So commit to that. Commit to you. 20 years looking back and saying, I am so glad I made those changes. Even though I didn't feel like at the time I was making these huge shifts, every little day it's about progression forward, not about perfection. So thanks for joining me, you guys, and I would love to help you get started. So message me if you have any questions at all. Thrive, Empower, Oils.